And we know we're not the reason you're here. So we're going to introduce our panelists for today. We have Sean Barker, May Zadler, and Paul Otis.
Hold on, we're getting some information in?
Yeah, we're getting some word from the back. This is actually Debi Mae, West, David Hayter, and Paul Eiding. Give them another round of applause, everybody. Come on.
We kept you waiting, huh?
All right, guys. So, A, thank you for coming. It would have been embarrassing if you didn't. B, just to kick things off, for anybody who may or may not know, if you pretend right now that you're at a party, and that party is the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and somebody says, "What the hell do you do for a living?" What do you guys tell them? Let's start with Debbie.
What I do for a living?
Yeah, what do you do for a living? Where would I know you from?
Oh, I talk a lot for a living, and I stand in front of a microphone, and yeah, I make video games or movie trailers. I'm the voice of the Olympics. I used to be the voice of Fred Meyer for 16 years, so in Portland. I said, "What's on your list today?" About 1 million times. That's what I do for a living.
Didn't you just win an Emmy?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Yes, I won an Emmy for with NBC Sports for the Paris Olympics because it was awesome, and they won 16 sports Emmys, and it was the first time they gave one to an announcer. So,
yes, you're the voice of the Olympics.
Sorry, David. What do you do?
I sell life insurance. There are never any follow-up questions.
Paul? I'm sorry.
Told you.
What kind of insurance do you sell, David?
Life insurance. How are you fixed for a policy?
I'm wide open right now. Actually.
Oh, God damn it.
Do you do auto as well?
Damn it.
Can you bundle my home and auto with that, or is that
I don't
like
even know what that means. I've gone down a terrible road here.
Nobody ever asks questions.
I typically just try to explain what I do. Say that I'm like, "Do you play video games?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Do you watch movies?" And they're like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Okay, well, there's probably something I've done that you..."
Museum cop in X-Men.
I was the museum cop in the first X-Men. Yeah.
Paul, what do you do?
I'm an actor. I act. Yeah, I hang on.
Well, I can give you my mic if need be.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm an actor. I do film and TV, voiceover, and I'm in rehearsal for a play right now. So yeah.
To follow that up, imagine that same party is happening in 1995. What do you tell them then?
1995. Oh my gosh, I'm the voice of Lucky on 101 Dalmatians cartoon series. Let's party! And then I turn on Prince and I party like it's 1999, but I'm 4 years early.
Yeah, in 1995, I would start with, are the drinks free? Because I'm very poor. In 1995, I was the voice of Captain America on the mid-90s Spider-Man show. So I would probably say that I am the first Canadian Captain America.
let's go.
And let's win one for democracy.
95, I would say that I am...
You were an actor?
Yeah, I'm an actor. I'm Scepter, the most intelligent of the Autobots. And I'm Nozo from the Toxic Crusaders. And
Can we get a little more juice in Paul's mic?
I know, juice.
I can also just hand you my mic.
Let's get
Oh,
juicy
oh.
mics.
I always get this! How to treat the colonel!
Test, test.
Anti-military, that's what it is.
Well, it's Portland, so.
We don't need the mics.
Could you hear me in the back just there? Wait till I yell snake. So I'm. What didn't you hear? I'm a Perceptor, the most intelligent of the Autobots. Because that started in the '80s, and I'm No Zone from the Toxic Crusaders. And at this point, I'm a Smurf. Yeah, I'm
No. Who do you voice?
Chimney Sweep Smurf.
It's not an actual Smurf.
Just a little blue one.
He's just a little guy. So you all have been doing this for 30 plus years, some of you longer.
Thanks a lot.
How different has it been going from 1995 to 2025, like in the world of acting, for screenwriting for you, David? Like, how has it been different these last 30 plus years?
My car is a lot nicer. Yeah, how's it been different? I don't know. I mean, it's not, people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, the business has changed so much, and it's so much harder to get things made. It's so much harder to become a voice actor." And I'm like, "Yeah, remember back in the '90s when it was easy, when they'd just be like, here's $20 million, go make a movie." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Didn't even occur to me. So I mean, there's AI and there's all that bullshit. And corrupted your baby over there. Les enfants terribles. But I kind of find it all the same in that, it just takes passion, it takes hard work, it takes networking, getting out there and relating with people in the business and finding your way. So I don't find it terribly different. So I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but that's where I'm going with.
Go with it. Go, Paul.
Well, for me, I moved to LA in the '80s and got lucky with getting the voiceover work. I didn't move to LA to do voiceover work. I meant to do, film, TV, all that other stuff. But got lucky. For me, the late '80s and the '90s, a lot of Saturday morning cartoons. Hanna-Barbera was going crazy. Sunbow was going crazy. So there was a lot of work. It wouldn't be strange to have 4 or 5 jobs in a week, which is, I don't know what the rest of y'all, but that ain't the way it is now. So it was halcyon days for me as far as animation was concerned. The other thing for me that's changed, back then we were all in the room together. The concept of working with other actors in a room and being able to play off of each other has been lost. We got to work with each other doing Metal Gear, but generally you're in there by yourself. And then it's all up to the director and the editors to put things together. And it works, but as an actor I prefer working face-to-face with the other actors. So that's changed for me. But everything is about, just getting out there, networking, and doing your job, which is getting the job. That's the tough part. Once you get the job, that's heaven, buddy. But getting the job is the job.
That's really, really insightful. Yeah, seriously. Sorry, I hear, I don't know. Working in film and TV, it's like I've never heard somebody put it that eloquently, so thank you for saying that, Paul.
I said something good?
So for me, how's it different? Well, in 1995, again, I did a lot more animation and a lot more games early on in my career, but then I went into the promo world, and so I started working at home on HGTV I mean, a long, long time ago. And that was, for me, so I've been alone in my home booth for many, many years. I would say almost 30 years. And so it hasn't really changed for me, but the business has changed because now everyone's in their home booth. And it used to be that, back in the 90s, there was so much work in LA, and there were only, even though it sounds like a lot, about 5,000 people. I remember Kathy Kelmanson, she's a big casting director. She said there's 5,000. Now I would say there's how many hundreds of thousands of people trying to do voiceovers, or some of them actually doing them. But everyone pretty much has a home studio now, and that's the game. And like Paul said, the job really is auditioning, and it's challenging because we used to go to casting offices back in 1995, and so I would drive around town and sometimes go to the same casting office twice in a day, go to my agents and read 15 pieces of copy, then go run around back to the casting offices. So it was all day. It was wild. It was so much fun, and we all knew each other and we all saw each other. And now everyone, I go to some of these conventions now and I see people that maybe have been in the business for 10 years or so doing anime. I do a lot of anime shows, and I don't know who they are. I'm like, who are all these people? Because I knew all the people from the 90s, and we all knew each other, and it was a really close-knit family. And so I do miss those days, actually. But yeah, being at home all alone.
Just with all the things that we've talked about, like David, you've mentioned everything that you've done as, like you've done a ton of screenwriting, you've done producing, directing. Debbie, we just talked about your Emmy and the Olympics, and I know that you love to surf and stuff. And Paul, you're a big fan of going to Ireland, I guess? Like, I know that about you. Did you guys ever imagine that the voice acting would carry you? And I know obviously you've all done other things, but the voice acting would be this underlying current that would kind of push you through for this long?
Never.
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 Kinda?
Yeah, because I started out on stage. Honestly, truly is my first love, because it's the scariest thing that you do, because your face is hanging out in front of everybody, and there's no one helping you, no second take. So it's terrifying, but rewarding, because you feel the audience, and you know that you're having a shared experience. So I moved to LA for film and TV. Had no idea that the voiceover would take over a lot of my career. And it wasn't until the cons happened that we got a chance to really, this is going to sound weird, and I've got some friends who if this is being filmed or taped, they're going to give me a hard time with it. This is the first time you can really feel the audience and feel the reaction to what your work has meant to them, or the game has meant to them. I take the idea of there being a fan of mine, I have a hard time with. A fan of my work and a fan of the games, I really relish, because it's something that we've shared, and we're nothing without you, and you need the games because you've played them and you care about them. But I had no idea back in the day that this would propel me around the world, meeting folks for my voice work. It's like, who'd have thunk it? Except for David.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to make it clear, I'm very careful not to feel the audience.
Thank you very much.
It's a different age, and everybody's got HR, so. What happened to me, I wanted to be Tom Cruise or Harrison Ford, or, that was my goal. I was going to be a big action star. And when I was 16, sort of. When I was 16, I was living in Japan. I went to this international high school in Kobe. And a Japanese video game company came to our school and said, we need 4 guys who speak English to do these Japanese arcade games. It was 1985, so that's 40 years ago. I was 16. And And so I went down and I did these video games. I wish I knew what they were, and they never told us, but we did a bunch of, pilot voices, soldier voices, stuff like that. And it was so fun that I started seeking out like English language voice tape work, and anything I could do in a booth in Japan, I would do. And so it really kind of, and I had trained in theater, and I had, sort of developed this voice so you could hear me at the back of the room, and I could do a bunch of accents and voices and stuff. And so it really kind of felt very natural. And then when I went to Hollywood, so I was 21 or something like that, and I got a guest star role on a show called Major Dad, where I played this Russian character. I was a young Russian man. And I got hired by legendary director Gordon Hunt to play a Russian on Captain Planet. And I was like, oh my God, suddenly I'm back doing voiceover. And it really felt like it was meant to be. So I kind of got swept up in it. And it's so funny because I think if I'd have pursued it, I'd have never gotten anywhere. If I was like, I want to be a voice actor, they'd have been like, go to hell. But I just fell into it, and I loved it so much, and I always have. So it kind of felt like destiny, just like being in the box.
I never in a million years imagined I would be a voice actor. I wanted to be a rock and roll star, and I went to jazz school to become a rock star, weirdly, and sang in a 20 and 40 piece big band. And that was back in the early 80s. And then apparently I became a Buddhist monk. I don't know, it says that somewhere on the internet.
I read that last night, and then I brought it up, and then Debbie said, I was just a Buddhist, I was not a monk.
He was like, didn't you go to monk school? And I was like, what the hell is monk school?
But I really did want to save planet Earth. I was born the week that JFK was shot. Sorry to tell you how old I am, boy. But I came to the planet, and everyone was crying the day that I was born on the day after Thanksgiving. And I still want to save planet Earth, but the only thing I can do now is spread a little bit of love and a little bit of joy, one hug at a time at these wonderful conventions and meeting strangers. I love meeting strangers. Don't be a stranger, yo. That's my alter ego. And but anyway, I didn't have the voice to go on the road because I have this crazy scratchy voice. So I wasn't blessed with the sustainability to be a rock star, and so I became a Buddhist. And then
that does not pay as well.
It doesn't pay as well. But anyway, I really fell into voiceovers. This woman that I knew in the monk school, she led me to believe that there was something I could do. She took me to the reading for the blind, actually, on Vermont Avenue and in Los Angeles, and I read the newspaper for the blind. And that was when I started. But then these guys were doing taxi cab confessions. Did anyone ever see that show?
Yes, I did.
My two friends, Harry and his brother, made that show, and they said, will you do something for us? And my first ever voiceover was, our sun, a very ordinary star, is one of 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. I don't know why I remember that, but anyway, the rest is history. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh.
That guy came out of nowhere.
We got Paul's juice.
Yes, hot swap the juice.
Hot swap.
Test.
I broke the microphone.
So,
Thank you, sound person.
Give it up for Storm. So you all have done a lot of stuff, but the combination of people up here, famous for Metal Gear, would you say, is it fair to say that Metal Gear changed your life, or is that too much?
Yeah, it changed my life. I auditioned for Metal Gear, and Jennifer Hale takes credit. She says she recommended me to come in and audition, so I'm going to give that to her. And then I was, it was 1998. I'm good friends with Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows, so I was up at this house where they were recording their third album because they had free food, and I was very hungry at the time. And then my Motorola StarTAC phone rang, and I walked out to the pool. I sat on the diving board, and I was like, "Hello," and it was Jennifer Hale, and she goes, "Guess who's gonna make some money?" I was like, "Is it me?" Because I really hope it's me, and I was like, my luck, it's probably her. And so she told me that I'd booked this game, and yeah, and then the first day we were recording, they played us the cutscene of Snake shooting down the Hind D helicopter, and being a gamer, I was like, oh my god, like this is gonna be huge. And I knew that. I didn't know I'd be here 27 years later still talking about it, but I knew it was gonna be big. Kojima did this thing that had never been done before, where when you introduce each character, there would be titles, you know, and it said my name under the thing, like a movie star, like I always wanted. And I was like, holy crap, that's pretty good. And then weirdly, I mean, so yeah, it changed my life. I mean, it became the signature role of my life. It's been defining me as an actor for nearly 3 decades. But then a year later, I ended up writing the movie X-Men, and that was my second big break. And so from 1998 to 2000, my life changed radically because of those 2 projects.
I would say for me, could I have a tiny more juice too? I'm losing my voice, so thank you. For me, I wouldn't say it changed my life, it made my life so much better. Because I did not used to do conventions, I didn't sign autographs, I've only been doing them for a couple of years, and this is actually the first time I've ever come to sign just like for a Metal Gear, for a gaming convention. I usually do anime for Naruto. But the way that it made my life better is that I've been in situations, and because I love to talk to strangers, and people are like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I do voiceovers, and well, what have you done? And, and I always bring up Metal Gear, and I've met, boys who are coming home from the war in an airport, like 8 guys, and they're like, you're Meryl? And they're just like, oh my God, what? And then having these experiences, and I've had them many, many, many times where I know that it's gonna tickle someone, and I can always like tell who a gamer is, upon meeting them. And so it definitely changed, it has changed my life. Voiceovers has changed my life. I mean, I've had an incredible, incredible life, and now I live in Hawaii and I surf every day, and it's the coolest thing ever, and I still get to make voiceovers. But I would say that being Meryl, could you say it?
Meryl.
I love that sound. Just being able to play Meryl, and I still don't know why I was picked. I mean, he brings up Jen. She's like one of the all-time great voiceovers of all time, and and I'm so grateful that I got to play Meryl, because she's just like such a cool character. And so yeah, she changed my life, but she actually has made my life better in the game, because I get to do the work that I feel like I was born to do, which is make the world brighter. Yes.
I don't know if it's changed my life, but it certainly has enhanced it to a great degree, just like she was saying. It's I've made so many friends through Metal Gear that we've met at different cons since I didn't start doing cons until 2010, because both my daughters were home and they didn't want to leave the house until they were off to college. Once they were off to college, and bye. And my wife would always travel with me. And I have friends that I made meeting at cons like this since then, and we stay in touch. I've sung some guys earlier, some guys from death metal bands up in Vancouver, from Australia, New Zealand. We stay in touch because we have a shared passion.
For death metal?
Okay, I'm going to tell this real quick story. I told somebody earlier, because you asked. The guy has a band, it's called Without Mercy. Children, cover the children's ears. On the front, it's black shirt, and across the front, it's in white script. without mercy. On the back, in also very large white, it says, "You smell like a bitch." So I went to hear another friend who's got a death metal band in LA. It's at one of these venues that one night they'll have oldies, one night they'll have country western, one night they'll have R&B, and then they'll have death metal. Where I went to see my buddy playing, who's also an engineer, sound engineer. And I wore a vest like this over my t-shirt. So I go, and there's a bouncer at the door, and he looks at me and makes an assumption, and he says, "Oh, I think you got here on the wrong night. Motown is on Friday, and oldies are on." And I said, I just looked at the dude, I took off my shirt, and I turned around.
Do you realize what you smell like?
And the dude said, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on in." So, and all that kind of stuff happens because of the passion that people share for a game. And I always tell people that I'm well known in certain circles, which is the best way to be well known. It's the best way. I love the fact that I can go someplace and someone at a Wendy's, of all places, will recognize my voice as Colonel Campbell.
Wow.
I mean, what more can you ask, man? You know, it's like, it's a joy. And to hear the stories about people playing with their dad or their mom when they were real young and kept the bond together over a video game, and learning so much and replaying the game and getting more out of it each time.
To make sure that I don't die.
It's a testament to the game, and we've all been, our lives have all been enhanced by it.
Yeah, and just to add to that, no, please go ahead. If I step on Paul's applause, he'll get very upset.
We'll hear about it.
Yeah. I also want to point out that nearly all of us in the cast have remained friends ever since. I mean, some people are harder to find than others, but there's such a bond between everybody. It's so fun. And whenever we talk on the phone, I'll call Debbie and I'll be like, "Meryl, Mrs. Snake." And what will you say?
Snake goo.
So I do that with everybody, with the Colonel, with Otacon, everybody. It's pretty cool. I don't know if it's cool, but it's fun.
Even when we're texting back and forth, it's the Colonel and the Snake. Like, that's the way it is.
So you mentioned that bonding experience recording that first game, and Paul, you mentioned that you did it all in the same area, so you can really feel each other in the space. It was in this very old house in Hollywood, and I think Game Informer even did a documentary about it in 2016. But what do you remember about the house and being in there and recording Metal Gear?
I don't think they remember anything, but I know
I just
Debbie's
remember
like,
the shag carpet.
Yeah, there's shag carpet. So this was a house that I think it was owned or rented by a Japanese casting company. And because I have background in Japan, I had done some Japanese shows through this house. I had been to the house a number of times for various awfully weird gigs. And whoa, I can't discuss that. Yeah, just don't Google it. No. It was like weird Japanese game shows and stuff like that. I kept my trousers on. So, trouser snake. So I got called to this audition. I went and I was like, "Oh, it's the weird house." And then I knew the woman who sort of ran the house, Keiko, and I was like, "Hey, Keiko," and she's like, "Hello." And then I auditioned, and then I got the part, and we went in. And so yeah, it was the house of some former Hollywood star in the 40s or something, and it hadn't been decorated since the 70s, and it was just this weird living room. And then a riser with the sound equipment, the engineers, producers, 5 microphones, lined up on stands, and then a monitor to show us what was happening in the game. And that was it. There was no, like, when we recorded, the producers had to be dead silent. They couldn't, like, click the buttons out loud or anything like that. It was very, very strange. Oh, and we had to stop every time, like, a motorcycle pulled up outside on Orange Street, or an airplane would go over.
The garbage trucks would come by.
Yeah, but as Paul said, you know, I had done, well, when I first did Captain Planet, we were all in Hanna-Barbera, we're all around, you know, all in the same room doing it on mics, and so we did Metal Gear that way, and it was like a radio play. We all played together, and it made it so much cooler and so much better. We're all playing off these awesome actors, and then so every time I negotiated for subsequent Metal Gears, I put in my contract that we all did it that way. So as people were just doing games individually, every Metal Gear game we did in the same room, and I would just go into a room for months, and the best voice actors in the world would come in and do scenes with me, and it was a dream.
I think there was actually, not at the house, but when we were doing it at the studio, there was only one time that you either couldn't be there at the beginning, because we were together for every single line that Meryl recorded. And it just made it so much better because it's him. Snake. Snake! But it really was, like, because there's no, like, anime, you're alone, you know, cartoons, you're together, games, you're alone. But Metal Gear, I was never alone. I was always with David, and every single scene was done together. And it made it that much more real. I mean, seriously, and I think that it shows.
Paul, do you remember anything about the creepy house in Hollywood that no longer exists?
Was I there? Yeah, it was Rudolph Valentino's old place.
The old Latin lover himself.
Yeah, Rudolph Valentino was a...
He had terrible taste.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a pretty funky place. Not in a good funky way either. Yeah, and how they got to sound the way it did blew me away. Because you're used to studios. You're used to a real setup. And like you said, everybody had to be really quiet. So it was, but it was fun. The thing that really blew me away when I got there and saw the script, and my script was big, but then I got a glance of his. It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah, we still got it done in 10 days, which was astounding. Metal Gear 4 took us 9 months to give you an idea of how things expanded. I'm going to tell a story that I have never told before.
Exclusive.
And it's about Paul Eiding, and I have never told Paul. So when I auditioned for Snake, I auditioned with my voice, which when I was younger sounded right about here. So it would have been, you know, Colonel, this is Snake. I'm at the disposal facility. I know, it's terrible.
That's a very different video game.
It's terrible. You have a totally different video game, but that's how I got cast. I think because Kojima was a fan of this movie I was in, Guyver Dark Hero, right? And I think it was like, oh yeah, we'll take that. You have excellent taste. So I read the script and I'm like, oh, this guy is older than me, and he's retired, and he's already a legend, and he's like bitter. And I was like, he can't sound like this, you know. And so I just started developing this voice and sort of adding the rasp in or whatever. And then I met Paul, and he was like, hey, I'm playing the Colonel. And then I was like, yeah, great. And so I start to, meaningless to me at this point.
And still.
So, no. Now it means a lot to me. Now I'm very fortunate. But so I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, nice to meet you. And then I'm like, you know, Colonel, I'm at the disposal facility. And he's like, excellent, Snake. And I'm like, hey. I was like, I'm not doing this so you all be raspy. And that's absolutely true. I was a little bent out of shape, and then I was like, well, his voice is amazing, and he's killing it. So I got over it, you know, within 10 minutes. But at first I was like, hey. Back off the rasp there, buddy. So I've never told that story to anyone. That is an absolute exclusive. And then I was like, I'm like, all the male actors are going to do this, and we're all going to be like, hey,
What about the females?
well, even Meryl was raspy.
So I should have said, Snake, this is Colonel Campbell.
If I'd have had more power at that time, that's how it would have gone.
He suddenly was a Smurf.
That's gimmick infringement at that point.
All right, so speaking of 10 minutes, we have like 10-ish minutes, so I do want to throw it to a Q&A. Just because there's so many of you and it's going to become pure chaos, I just want to plug stuff. So super quick, they're all going to be signing at the booths afterwards, so please go visit them. Just anything you can't ask in the next 10 minutes, please ask them at their booth.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing another panel with David tomorrow at noon that is going to be pure chaos and a lot of fun, so please come to that. And then we are doing a live episode of Metal Gear Mondays tonight at 7, the only panel happening after hours. So come check us out. But yeah, so let's do some questions. I'm just going to jump down, I guess. I don't know how best to do this.
Don't die.
I'm not going to break my legs, I hope.
I need you.
No, I'm just kidding. Let me take it to this guy.
This is also
Yeah,
David and Debbie's first convention together.
Yes, ever.
Ever.
Yeah, first and last.
Right. Hi, David.
Hey.
It's good to actually hear your voice in person for once. I wanted to ask, how did you find the rasp? You told the story, but did you have to like experiment? And does it hurt?
No.
It doesn't hurt?
No.
Just talk from the throat, or how do you? Where do you talk from?
I do it all day, every day.
Okay.
And by the end of the day, my voice sounds like this. I've
boy.
really warmed it up. No, it's like a stage technique. It's sort of like a singing technique. I just am able to swallow it back till it starts to get raspy. And it doesn't strain you. Like if you're doing it like this, it'll kill you and you can't do it for 9 months.
Yeah.
So I figured it out, but it wasn't really, I didn't do it on purpose. I was just reading the script and I was like, Colonel, like, if I wanted to be left alone and I was a legend, it'd kind of be here. And it was really just the script kind of dictated where it would be. And then, in the middle of the first day, Chris Zimmerman said, "Can I play the voice you auditioned with?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so she played it, and I was like, I can do it that way. And she goes, "No, I think this is working. How do you feel?" And I was like, "Tasty." I just kind of felt it would work, and I was kind of excited about it, so I felt that would come through.
Mm-hmm. Does it usually come from the throat or come from the nose?
No, it comes from the throat.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can tell you where it really comes from.
Whoa. One quick last announcement before I hand this off one more time. So they're actually going to be taking lunch after this, so they'll be at their booth signing at 1:45 is what I was
Probably won't take a long lunch, so I'll be at my booth sooner.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Another question.
Hey there. I just wanted to ask this for each of you. Either what was the most unique line you recorded from any Metal Gear or your favorite line from any Metal Gear? It was like most fun to record.
Wow. The most unique line, well, there's, talking about Johnny Sasaki and that he's got dysentery, and I would say diarrhea. Or, you must be a real threat in the muck duck eating contest. That was pretty unique. I haven't done that.
I've never played the game. I'm so sorry. I wish I could play it. Is it being played here? Can I watch people play it? I did watch it over at Vanessa Marshall's house once. We did a little live interview while people were playing. But we got the scripts right then and there, and we never got to take anything away. So I don't have a lot of huge memories. But of course, careful. I'm no rookie. That's a great line. But I was doing some research a few months back because I knew I would sign some autographs and I would want to have some quotes, and for some reason I saw this. I hope I'm not making it up, but I did say to Snake, "I thought you said you were into dogs."
I got a few from Sons of Liberty.
Yeah.
One that I get most requests for is, the whole line. I hear it's amazing when the famous purple stuffed worm in Flapjaw space with a tuning fork does a raw blink on Harry Carry rock. I need scissors, 61.
Yeah. Paul, did you ever get the scissors?
Say what?
Did you ever get those scissors?
What did you say?
Did you ever get the scissors?
What?
Scissors.
No. I got a straight razor. You want to see it?
All right, so this is for David. I'm sure you get this question a lot, but would you be willing to voice Snake in a potential future Metal Gear game?
How much are you putting up?
No.
No, I would do Snake anytime, anywhere, anytime they ask, I'm there.
All right, sweet.
I'll do them too.
Whoa. All right, I think we may only have time for one more, but depending on how this goes, we might have one more. I don't know.
But come to the tables and ask questions if you want.
Hi, big fan.
You're not that big.
Okay, so do you guys remember Super Smash Brothers Brawl?
It's showtime.
Yeah!
Of course, yeah.
How much fun did you have voicing that?
Oh, all the fun? It was the most fun. So we were recording Metal Gear 4, and then Nintendo, Konami told us, Nintendo wants to do this crossover with Super Smash. Will you stay, or it's in the middle of the day that Nintendo came to record, in the middle of our Metal Gear 4 day, the codec calls between me and the Colonel and me and Otacon. And it was so fun because, Snake is so ultra serious, but the games are also fairly ridiculous at times. And so whenever Snake gets to be funny, it's the best. So, do you know who that is? Snake, do you know who that is? Of course, that's Mario. It was a blast.
It was great fun. And of course, it was hard to get through a couple of the lines when I'm warning them about Wario. Superpower is farting.
By farting.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was just a whole different energy. And then they left, and we went back to the tragic story of aging, dying Snake, while Meryl goes off and marries Johnny Sasaki.
But Meryl lets me walk her down the aisle.
Yeah, that's adorable.
She doesn't shoot me.
She's like, Snake, are you gonna come to my wedding? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to my ranch and die.
Nice.
Have fun.
So that is all the time we have. Can we please get a round of applause for Debbie, David, and Paul?
Thanks, guys, and thank you, Portland. Come and see us.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and here are a few more videos for you to check out.